and welcome back to my channel. My name is Paola, and today I have the most special returning guest, Crystal Maldonado. Yay! I'm so happy that you're here. You have two books out.
To be here. Yes. Wow. And also I just noticed we kind of match. You're wearing like this olive, right? Like kind of a greeny.
Yes.
Too.
Woo!
We channeled that together.
Yeah, and green eyeliner because of your beautiful cover. Like, I love it.
Thank you.
And you not only have two books out, you also have two books out with a fat girl of color front and center.
Yeah.
How amazing is that?
It is beyond my dream come true. So, before we started recording, I was telling you how I didn't ever think I was even going to have one book with a girl of color who is fat at the center of it, and now I have two, and every time I see them together, I'm just like, okay, someone pinch me because this is fake. This doesn't feel real.
So, what can you tell us about No Filter and Other Lies?
So this is the story of a 17-year-old girl named Kat Sanchez. Like we said, she is fat. She is brown, Puerto Rican specifically. She is quiet and kind of sarcastic, and she's very artistic. So she is a photographer, and she lives in Bakersfield, California. And pretty much nothing about her life feels glamorous to herself. And she just feels like she doesn't know where she kind of fits in anywhere. And she's like low-key kind of hooking up with her best friend, and just everything about her life feels like it's all over the place when we meet her. But one thing is really constant for her, and that's the fact that she really is like yearning to kind of find her place and to feel accepted by everybody around her, including her family and her friends, and really anyone that she meets. So after kind of struggling to gain a following on Instagram, which is her current life's goal, she wants to become someone who has a big following, and she wants people to see her art and appreciate that. When she doesn't get that, she's like, okay, I'm just going to take matters into my own hands. She is maybe a little tipsy when she decides to do this, but she decides she's going to steal one of her friend's pictures. And this friend happens to be thin and white and beautiful. So she steals her photos, makes a whole new identity on Instagram, and starts to catfish as this like Instagram influencer named Max Monroe. And so we watch as she's juggling these two lives, her real life that feels messy, and for Kat, it feels like it's impossible to navigate. And this other life that she feels like she has the freedom to kind of be herself and explore her sexuality and just be authentic without the pressures of everyone else. And obviously things go pretty sideways because lying to that level never goes well. But really the story is about, identity and self-acceptance and the lengths that you'll go in order to feel accepted and loved.
I love it. It's very high school, and I love it. It's just very relatable. When did you know that you wanted to write this specific story?
When I got the deal for Fat Chance Charlie Vega, I knew there would be a second book because I was fortunate for it to be a 2-book deal. And so Charlie Vega was kind of my story where I was like, if I only get one book, what do I want it to cover? And so that was a lot about bodies and like body politics and, Latina identity. And also I wanted a strong romance for her because I never got to see that. And so then having this second book, it was like, okay, now that I did that, what are some other things that I would love to see in books that I feel like I, as a reader, didn't get to experience growing up, or I would love to see more of today? And so social media has always played a really big part in my life. So I've always been like chronically online since I was like a kid. I wanted to actually originally set this story in the like early 2000s and explore what catfishing would be like then. But it was so hard to explain what the internet was like at that point. And I felt like the pressures now are so much more significant that it would be more interesting to explore that. especially as someone who I have spent a big part of my career working in social media as like a brand manager. So I've seen a lot, and I feel like I kind of see the good side of it, but I also see how addicting it can be and how hard it is to just exist on social, where you're like, I'm living my life and I'm scrolling, and now I feel terrible about myself because it seems like everyone else has their life figured out, and I'm over here just like eating Doritos on my couch with cheesy hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was, I think, a big inspiration for why I wanted to write this book. And frankly, I wanted Fat Brown Girls to also have a messy character that they could hopefully see a different side of themselves in. So if they see their like hopeful romantic side in Charlie, then in Kat, I hope they see like somebody who doesn't have all the answers and doesn't necessarily make all the quote unquote right choices, and know that that's okay and that's superhuman and we all do it.
Yeah. I think that's so important to note about your book, that it just feels very current without it trying to be like, my book is relevant, this is the moral of the story, you know?
Thank you. I tried really hard not to be too preachy about anything, because I'm not trying to write a book that says like social media is either 100% good or 100% bad. It just is what it is, right? And we use it differently, and sometimes we make bad choices, and that's okay. We can still be good people.
Yeah.
Do things like that.
Yeah, I love Kat. She's the best.
I do too. I have such a soft spot for her because I feel like Charlie was way wiser than I was when I was 16, and Kat is probably closer to what I was actually like when I was 17.
I feel like now accountability is being used as a buzzword for like Twitter callouts, but here Kat actually faces the consequences of her action. So what was that challenging to write?
Yeah, especially as somebody who, like I said, I do love happily ever afters, and I want my characters to get everything. And as the author, you're like, well, I could, but like, what kind of message is that? And that's not exactly how life works out. And so I wanted, with both Kat and with Charlie, I wanted both of them to, even if they got a version of happily ever after, it wasn't everything kind of neatly tied up in a bow, right? So like, you close the book and you know, like, okay, there are some wonderful things happening for this character, but their journey's not over, because it shouldn't be, right? And also showing the actual like consequences of if you make this choice then, right? Like, Kat really does do something that is illegal, like, and also just she shouldn't do it, and it's like immoral, but at the same time she is also a teenager, and like we sort of see her motivations behind why she did it. Not that that excuses it, but at least we understand it maybe a little as readers. And so I wanted her to actually have to face losses. Like, what happens when you do something and you know it's bad and you have opportunities to fix it and you choose not to? What does that mean for Kat, and what does that look like?
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing worse as a reader to be like, okay, like, I love you, but you made the wrong call here, and then you face no consequences. Like, what is happening? It sucks so much.
Right, because it's almost like you can root for a character who makes mistakes, but there has to be some, I guess, like self-realization, or something where they, like, it comes back to the accountability, right? Like, they take accountability for the actions that they have done.
Wait, speaking of, and you also talked a little bit about how Charlie was wiser than you. Do you think that they would get along?
I do, actually. I think they would be a nice, like, compliment to one another. And sometimes I think Kat could use some, like, loving girlfriends who can kind of keep her in check. And I think Charlie and Amelia could be that for her.
Yes, Charlie and Amelia. I love them so much. So, as we've established, Kat is very obsessed with social media, and I think that's very true to what teens are living right now, even more so than when you and I were kids. So I love that your book addresses the dangers and benefits of using social media as a bragging tool, but also like as a networking tool. Um, and also its discriminatory algorithms. So, what were some of the highlights and what were some of the challenges that came when you were addressing all of this in a fiction book?
So I feel like a lot of the challenges were just ensuring that it felt current and real to real life. So when I started drafting the book, it was pre-pandemic, and we hadn't quite, TikTok hadn't hit the levels that it had hit once we kind of entered pandemic, and it became like the preferred platform in a lot of ways. And I think we were able to find that because she is someone who is like still photographer, like she is very much in the photo realm, and so that still overwhelmingly works well on Instagram. But keeping it current, I think, was probably the big challenge because, as you know, so much changes so quickly. A highlight for me, like being able to portray social media not as wholly good or wholly bad, and trying to have like this nuanced discussion and look at it and get at some of these, like you said, discriminatory algorithms and how that prioritizes content from white creators a lot of the time, and how it is problematic when it's these like gigantic corporations deciding what gets fed to you as a user. So it's a very real thing that folks of color who are on social media are experiencing, yet nobody really talks about it, right?
Yeah.
It's weird. And so for Kat to recognize that was important to me because she's like, I just feel like if I was a thin, beautiful white woman, everybody would already be following me. And that sucks. And so I just think having these bigger conversations about social media and where we kind of go from here and how do we keep these corporations kind of, I don't know, not to go back to accountable, but how do we start to talk about these like discriminatory practices, and what can we even do about it when we just are like one person using social media? I think those are all things we should be thinking about.
And I applaud you for getting that.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's play a little game. It's Would You Rather Bookish Edition. So would you rather secretly love a book that everyone else hates or secretly hate a book that everybody else loves?
I'm all about the underdog, so I think I would secretly love a book that everyone else hates and then like tweet about the reasons that I love it.
Would you rather have dinner with your favorite dead author or your favorite dead character?
I think I would want to have dinner with my favorite dead author because I love Maya Angelou, and she was like a huge influence just in like inviting me into the literary world. And I remember discovering her first, or I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and being like, holy shit, the voice in this is like incredible, and I didn't know you could write like this. And I got to see her shortly before she passed. She did like an event at my university, and I was like, I wanted to just like ask her a million questions. So I definitely want to have dinner with her and hear her just talk.
What a wholesome answer. Yes. Would you rather live in a fairy tale or a romance novel?
I'm going to go romance novel just because I love romance in general. And like I said, I am quite dramatic, and so I feel like I would fit in really well there.
Would you rather forget all of your favorite series and get to discover them for the first time all over again, or remember all the details of every book you've ever read?
Oh my God, that's a good question. On the one hand, my memory could be incredible, but on the other hand, the joy of rediscovering something you love, that is magic. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. Okay. It would be sad to forget it, but to rediscover it would just be amazing.
Would you rather have a friend who loses your books or one who doggy ears them?
Oh, definitely dog ears them. Like, I'd be pissed for sure, but at least I'd still have the book, right?
Yes.
And in the other instance, now I have no book, and now I don't know. I might have no friend because I'd be like, excuse me.
And finally, tell us about your upcoming projects.
Oh, yay! So I am really excited to have another YA book coming out in fall 2023. I can't share too much yet, but I will say it is an autumnal themed, like fall themed book as like the backdrop. It's set in New England, which is where I grew up. And so there's a lot of like, if you like pumpkins and like hay rides and apple picking and all of that goodness, then this will be the book for you. And it's about a girl who is kind of type A, obsessed with being perfect, and she really wants to make the upcoming homecoming dance perfect and just like unforgettable. And things seem to kind of be going well until she gets paired up with her ex-boyfriend from middle school, and they have to work together on this. So we've got some enemies to lovers. Well, it was really
Yes.
lovers to enemies to lovers, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of, banter, and there's some good friendships in there, and, a lot of pumpkin spice lattes and
Yes.
all kinds of goodness. So it should be good. I'm excited. I'm actually finishing up. I have like one more chapter to write.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes to all of that. Yes, pumpkin spice lattes are the best.
I agree.
And I love me some like lovers to enemies to lovers in high school. Like that shit, give it to me. I love
delicious.
it. It's
Delicious,
so good.
Yes.
So good. Crystal, thank you so much for rejoining me. I am so happy that you got two books out and that they're both about girls of color, fat girls of color. I'm very excited, and I just really hope that you just never stop writing books because they're so good. And I've seen so many people being like, Crystal Maldonado is now definitely an autobi. Like, I love her stuff, and I'm like, yes, join the Crystal squad, the Crystal crew. Yeah, I like that, Crystal crew.
Okay, I like it. It's cute. Yes. Thank you so much for having me back. I love talking with you. And
me too.
Anytime someone says I'm an auto-buy, it's like the best compliment in the entire world. So.
Yes, absolutely. People at home, don't forget to check out the description below for all relevant links, obviously including No Filter and Other Lies buy links and links to Crystal's socials and website so that you can keep up with her. It's all very exciting. Thank you, Crystal, so much for doing this with me again. And yeah, we will see you in another one. Bye.